Hi everybody, it's Nikki here and welcome to a bookish video. So today's video is my July and August book haul. Now the interesting thing about July and August was these were the first months where I put into place the point system that I'm now using to curb my book buying extravaganza that I was in at the beginning of the year and all of last year. So I had been looking for a way to curb my book buying fiend that I was in for a long time. Couldn't think of anything that I could do. I didn't want to go on a book buying ban because I just knew that would never work for me. And then my good friend here, one of my subscribers and also a good friend who I now talk to on Instagram as well, she created a point system. Video is coming, I swear. It's either going to go up before this or after this, but it is coming. And the book point system is a system that Karen devised to the books that you read create points to allow you to buy books. So for every 200 points, I can buy one book. So I will go through the point system in a separate video. So I won't go into that today, but in July and August, I had enough points in July, I think, to buy 3 books, I think it was. Let me just check. Yeah, I was allowed to purchase 3 books, and in August I was able to purchase 4 books. Now I will say that my Fairyloot books don't count, and pre-orders don't count either. So for this book haul, I only have 13 books to show you. 2 of those are Fairyloot books and 1 was a pre-order. So I technically bought 3 books that I shouldn't have, but I've also read 3 of the books in this haul already. So I'm not mad about going over my book buying allowance, because my book haul for May and June was over 20 books. So I've already halved that amount by going onto the book point system, and I've already read some of these, so I'm not too mad about it. So let's show you the Fairyloot books first, because you've already seen them in my Fairyloot unboxing, but I just want to go through them again. So the first book is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, the beautiful, beautiful Fairyloot edition. Yeah, this came in August, I believe. I am very excited to read this. It does look really, really stunning. And it's based on the 6 Swans myth, I believe, or story, fairy tale. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for this one. Not sure when I'll get to it, but it's stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. And considering how many fantasy books we get that have really dark covers, they generally do have darker covers, the beautiful pastel pinks and purples and blues and greens on this really do make a nice change. So that's the first Fairyloot book. The next Fairyloot book, talking of dark covers, was Fire with Fire by Destiny Soria. This is about 2 sisters who are dragon fighters, but then one of them befriends a dragon and the other one still wants to fight them. So conflict, I'm sure, will arise. This one I had never heard of until I received it in Fairyloot. So my interest in this one is a little bit less than 6 Crimson Cranes, which I had heard of before. There was a bit of hype about that book prior to getting it into Fairyloot. So yeah, I'm not so interested in this one. This will probably stay on my Fairyloot shelf for a while unread, but you know, I do love my Fairyloot boxes. So yeah, those are the 2 Fairyloot books. Let's go on to the 3 books that I have already read. The first one was Adam 2 by Alistair Chisholm. I read this last month, and in August, I believe. I pretty much read this as soon as I got it. I couldn't wait to read it. It was such a good book. I really enjoyed it. I love the message that Alistair Chisholm puts into his children's books. He has 2 out at the moment, Orion Lost and Adam 2. Orion Lost was my favourite book of 2020. Adam 2, not quite my favourite book of 2021, but it's still an enjoyable read, and I really can't wait to see what else Alistair Chisholm brings to the table. Because as I say, I love the messages that he portrays in his books, and yeah, I would definitely be buying this for my kids if they were still young. But yeah, really enjoyed it. This is a futuristic sci-fi middle grade about a robot who has to basically save the human and the robot races from destroying each other. Really good. I gave this 5 stars. The next book I read, I didn't plan on reading it quite so soon. I bought it because I had read everything by this author that I currently owned, and I wanted to move on to one of their next books, and I'd asked around as to which one people thought I should read next. It is Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker, and a lot of people told me I should read Warbreaker before moving on to the Stormlight Archives. So I purchased it, and then I showed a picture of it on my Instagram, and one of the ladies from my book club messaged the book group chat and said, hey, do you fancy a buddy read with Warbreaker, seeing as you've just bought it? So I was like, yeah, sure, when? And one of the other ladies was like, I can start it next week. And I was thinking, I wasn't planning to read it quite so soon. But yeah, so, and then I started reading it, and they didn't. So I ended up taking my time with this, like reading this over the last 4 weeks. I really took my time with it, really. I didn't like try and get through it too quickly. They had intended to read it with me, but I think life just got in there in the way, as it sometimes does with people. So yeah, I don't think they got through it quite as quickly as I did, or if they have, they haven't mentioned anything. We're meeting up next week, so I suppose I will talk to them about it then. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. This will be in my September wrap up, because I did just finish it at the beginning of September. So the review for this will be in my September wrap up. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when my next videos go up, and I'll see you in the next video. So yeah, if you want to know my thoughts on this, you'll have to wait for my September wrap up, which generally will go up in the first week of October. So yes, look out for that one. And the next one that I read, I did it. I read For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This was on my Bookgammon's Star Book feature for 2 months, and I still didn't get to land on it. So for the Magical Readathon this month in September, I was able to put this on my TBR thanks to the prompt, pick a book for that's at the top of your priority list or top of your TBR list, and this has been like one that I'm highly anticipated reading. Again, you will have to wait for my September wrap up to get my thoughts and feelings on this book, but as I'm smiling, I guess you can guess what I thought. So yes, I had For the Wolf. I bought For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. Oh, just never wanted to read a book again straight away after finishing it. But anyway, So on to the rest of the books that I haven't read yet. So these are going on to my physical unread TBR. So the first book I bought was Queenslayer by Sebastian de Castell. This is book 5 in the Spellslinger series. It is a floppy. It's a beautiful floppy. It's a real good floppy. The only disappointment I have with this is because I ordered this off Amazon, it doesn't have the sprayed edges. And all of the other copies of the Spellslinger series I have all have sprayed edges. And I'm so gutted because now this one doesn't, and it's going to be the odd one out. Well, depends on which copy of the last book, which I think is Crownbreaker, I get. Whether that will come with sprayed edges or not, I don't know. But and I guess I can always paint them myself if I'm really that fussed. But I tried painting my own book edges before. Didn't quite turn out to plan. So I don't think I will bother doing it. But it's a floppy, so can't complain too much, can we? So yeah, I have been reading the Spellslinger series for over a year now, and haven't got to book 5. It is the next book that I need to read, so I figured it was time for me to purchase it so that when the opportunity came up, I could put it onto my TBR and get the next book read. Once I have finished this, then I will buy Crownbreaker. So yeah, I'm not going to buy the next book, possibly, until I finish reading this one, because then, you know, I know I'm going to get to it. I just don't know when I'm going to get to it, so might as well save the space for something else. But yeah, so I bought that one. The next book I also bought because it's part of a series that I'm reading, and I bought The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, which is book 2 in the Wheel of Time series. I know they have the new versions out, but I really like these editions, so I'm hoping that these aren't going to disappear too quickly, because I want to buy the whole set in these editions. So I hope they don't change them out in the shops too quickly. But I read book 1, was it July, I think it was in my July TBR, and I finished it and read it and loved it so much. I'm highly anticipating the release of the series on Netflix. Very excited. So I want to be hitting The Great Hunt up soon, just in case the series is going to spoil things for me in this book. I don't know if series 1 is book 1, series 2 is book 2. I don't know if that's how it's going to happen. I can imagine it could be, because they are quite chunky books, but I definitely do want to be picking this up sometime soon. I might not wait to put this on my TBR. I might just start reading it slowly, like I did with Warbreaker, taking my time over it, not trying to rush it in a set TBR, but just like going through it. But yeah, I bought The Great Hunt. The next book I bought, I have been wanting for so long. This book really interests me. It is The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. And as you can see, the pages start to get darker and darker throughout this. So they start off white, and then they start getting murkier and darker and darker. And the pages start to disintegrate until eventually pages turn black. How cool is that? Like, that makes my little dark heart beat so hard. So this is a story about 2 boys, and one of the boys is beginning to have vivid hallucinations, and his friend is basically deciding to help him by believing him and believing in the fantasy kingdom that creeps into the edges of the real world. And it says, written with vivid intensity, The Wicker King explores a relationship fraught with tension, madness, and love. So literally, as this one boy's mind is literally like disintegrating on himself, the other boy is playing on that and kind of encouraging it almost. And yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm really excited for this one. I want to get this read in spooky season, but I don't know if I will. So yeah, you'll have to wait and see if I can get this on my October TBR or not. But yeah, I bought the Wicker King. Moving on to some hardbacks. The first book this book is the Jade Bones by Lainey Forbes. This is the sequel to The Seventh Son, which I read last year and thoroughly enjoyed. I picked it up because I picked up The Seventh Son because I really like the front cover of it. It's got a real nice similar style to this, very Aztec kind of style to it, and I really enjoyed it and really intended to move on to the second book. I think it's only a duology, I'm not sure. No, it says The Age of the Seventh Son series book 2, so I'm guessing there's going to be maybe 4 books, because it would be a trilogy if it was only 3, a duology if it's only 2. So there's a minimum of at least 4 books in this series, I think. But the first book was really interesting. It was about a prince who, his father dies and his mother commits suicide to be with his father, and they have sun powers, so they can control the sun. And so the prince has to take on the role as king, and because he's become king, he now needs to marry. And so the noble families in the kingdom have to send their eldest daughter or their best daughter. And one noble family only has one daughter, and she gets sent to the trials to marry the king. But the problem is, when the king chooses one of the girls to be his bride, all the others are sacrificed. It's a death sentence. This is not a good thing. So yeah, and there's lots of political intrigue going on. The romance was so romantic and so sweet, and the ending was not what I was expecting at all. So I'm very excited to move on to the next book. I just never ended up picking up. But now I have it in my hands, I am hopefully going to be able to put it on my TBR very soon, because I do want to continue this story. It has stuck with me, and I have a crap memory, okay? My memory is not good, but I remember The Seventh Son, the plot and everything. I don't need to reread it because my memory has just stuck with this story. So I really did enjoy the first one, and I cannot wait to move on to the second one and see where we're going next. And as I say, it looks like it's going to be at least a 4-book series. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. If you know how long this series is planned to be, let me know, so I know what I'm in for. But it does say series on the back, not trilogy or duology. So I know there's going to be at least 4 books. But I mean, the cover is just stunning. So yeah. So yeah, that's that one. The next book is also a sequel to a book that I already own. And it's a sequel to a Fairyloot book I own. And it's Illusionary by Zoraida Cordova. This is the sequel to Incendiary, I think it was. Yeah, Incendiary. Now, I know that Fairyloot were doing a special edition of Illusionary, but I didn't have money in time to order it. And I'm falling out of love with Fairyloot special editions extras, the Fairy Trove books, because obviously they charge a little bit extra because they are special editions. They've got sprayed edges, they've got extra artwork, they've got foiling and gold embossing and stuff like that all over them, so I can understand why they charge more. However, I ordered Gods and Monsters from them, and Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin, which is the third book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy, that was released publicly in the shops almost 2 months ago, and I still haven't got my edition from Fairyloot. I did see a post today on their Instagram saying that Gods and Monsters has now arrived at their headquarters or their stock things and will be sent out soon, but it's nearly 2 months. That book has been released for 2 months and I'm still waiting for my Fairyloot special edition. So kind of a little bit fallen out with their special edition fairy trove things. So I think I'm just going to stick to whatever comes in my box, and then just get the sequels from the normal shops, unless it's specifically a series that I love and I want the special editions for. I mean, if they came out with a special edition of the Uglies trilogy, say by Scott Westerfeld, I would snap that up. I would sell my soul to buy that because I love that series. For these books, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. So yes, Illusionary is the sequel to Incendiary. I loved Incendiary. I gave it 5 stars, so I knew I wanted to get the sequel to it. I'm not sure if this is a duology. Yeah, it is a duology. And it says, in this thrilling conclusion to the Hollow Crown duology, Zoraida Cordova weaves an epic finale brimming with adventure, romance and justice. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And Incendiary was about a young girl who had to go back to her childhood captives in order to pretend to return to them in order to save her boyfriend who had been captured by her previous captors. It was the whole returning back to your bad situation. It was brilliant. I loved it. Look up the synopsis for it, because that synopsis was a bit crap. But yeah, Illusionary by Zoraida Cordova. And the next book is also a sequel. You can see I was going for sequels. But this is a sequel to a book I haven't even read yet. So I don't know why I did that. But it's Deepwater King by Claire McKenna. And this is the sequel to Monstrous Heart, I want to say. Monstrous Heart. Let's have a look. Yeah. Monstrous Heart. This is going to be a trilogy. I bought it because I got the first book in hardback. I wanted the second book in hardback. And here in the UK, if you don't snap up a hardback when it first comes out, the chances of getting a hardback 6 months later is almost non-existent, because our publishing companies stop doing the hardback editions after 6 months, I think. Or it's harder to get hold of anyway. So, I mean, it's like underwater stuff, and I like that stuff. I can't remember what Monstrous Heart is about. Let me have a quick look and read you the synopsis of Monstrous Heart. A sensational debut novel perfect for fans of Outlander and The Binding. This is gothic, epic, romantic fantasy at its very best, a tale of magic, intrigue on dangerous waters, and a love story for the ages. When Arden Beacon is sent to the lighthouse, she is simply a woman with a job to do. She neither seeks nor expects distraction. After years tainted by disappointment, Arden has finally taken up her family's profession. She must prove herself worthy of her name, for she has nothing else. But the coast she's been tasked with lighting is far from the world she knows. The salt-swept backwater town of Vigil is battered by a sea teeming with colossal ancient beasts. It is a place of secrets, rumours and tight-lipped expectations of a woman's place. More than anyone, the folk of Vigil whisper about Arden's new neighbour, Jonah Riven, hunter of Leviathans. He murdered his wife, they whisper, a perfect golden girl full of charm and potential, so very different to Arden Beacon. They say he is as much a monster as his prey, but Arden cannot get this dark stranger out of her head. A sensational debut novel, perfect for fans of Outlander and The Binding. It repeats itself. So yeah, so romance in a backwater town battered by a sea with monsters and a man who apparently killed his wife. I can't think of anything more exciting than that. So yeah, that is so I bought, that was the synopsis for Monstrous Heart, and this is the sequel to that. So that was the other book. Then I bought 2 graphic novels. The first one is the 3rd and final book in the Steel Prince graphic novel by V.E. Schwab, and it's The Real Army. I do have book 1 and book 2 in this, well, volume 1 and volume 2 in this, and so I wanted to get the 3rd book so I could finish this trilogy. I have not read Shades of Magic, the actual novel, but I do own it, so hopefully once I've finished the comic books, then I will move on to Shades of Magic, the actual book, because the comics, these graphic novels, are actually like a prequel to Shades of Magic. So yeah, hopefully these will give me a bit more of an insight into some of the characters that I'm going to meet in the actual novel. As I say, I've read volume 1 and 2. I just need to finish volume 3. And then the other one I got was Lumberjanes, Sink or Swim. This is volume 6. Don't ask me why I bought volume 6. My local Forbidden Planet was doing a free comic book day twice in August. One in the first 2 weeks of the month and one in the second 2 weeks of the month. And I went, I picked up some free comics, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And then I was having a look at their for sale rack, and I saw Lumberjanes, and I know I've started to read the Lumberjane volumes on my Kindle Unlimited, but when I saw this one and it was only $4.99, I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick it up, and then realised it was number 6. I didn't check that before I picked it. I just thought it was just random. So yeah, I have read some of these. I think I've read up to volume 3, I think. So I still got a ways to go before I get to this one, but I picked it up because I forgot. The truth is, I was just so excited about getting free comics, and I saw it on sale and I bought it, and then I went, oh, my point system, because that was one that I shouldn't have bought. I didn't have the books allowance for it. But anyway, so the free comics. Yes, so Forbidden Planet, I think, do this every year in August. They do like a free comic book day, but because of the COVID restrictions, they split it into 2 days in August this year. So I went twice because why not? And we were able to pick out 10 free comics from a certain selection in the shop each. So the first time I went, I just went on my own, and so I picked some comics for me and some comics also for my husband. The second time I went, I actually took my husband with me, and he was able to pick 10 for himself, and I picked 10 for myself. So I did pick out 20 comics from Forbidden Planet, but I don't have 20 comics because some I gave. So here they are. Here's the comics. So they're all marked clearly free comic book day. So I have Dungeon is Back, Naruto, The Legend of Korra. I have 2 Lady Mechanicas. I thought they were different, but the first story in them is exactly the same. It is just like the second half of the comic, which is slightly different from each other. So that was annoying. Vox Machina, White Ash, Bountiful Garden, Life is Strange, Stray Dogs, Lumberjanes, School for Extraterrestrial Girls, Just Beyond, this one's cute, Owly, The Way Home, The Smurfs, because like I remember them when I was a kid. And then this one has 4 separate ones in there, so you only get really a couple of pages of each story. So we have Jonna and the Impossible Monsters, Mooncakes, the Tea Dragon Tapestry, and the Sprite and the Gardener. Now, Mooncakes and the Tea Dragon Society graphic novels I have been interested in for a long time. I believe I have Mooncakes on my wish list. I think I might have the Tea Dragon Society on there as well, but I definitely have Mooncakes on my wish list on Amazon. So yeah, I picked that one up because it had 2 graphic novels in, well, 2 excerpts from graphic novels that I have been interested in, so that was that one. So yeah, that was my book haul for July and August, and as I say, it is half as big as the one I made in May and June, and I've read 3 of them already. So I am extremely happy with the point system that I now have in place. It is working for me. I know other people who've tried to use this point system and it's not quite worked so well for them. So all I can say is find a system that works for you, that you're gonna stick to. It works for me because it's a competition with myself, the best kind, and it works for me because it's changed my focus from how many books can I buy to how many points can I earn from books I read. So my focus is now on what I'm reading rather than what I'm buying, and when I get to the end of the month and I know I've earned enough points to get 4 books, when I'm shopping and I'm picking up a book, I'm thinking, is that worth one of my book allowances? So, and then I'm thinking to myself, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it now. I can pick that up later. So it's also helping me to make better choices about what books I'm buying, not just stopping me from buying books, but choosing books that are better, like buying the sequels to books I've already read, rather than buying new books for new series that I'm not going to start yet anyway, because I've got so many series going. So the point system is working for me, so thank you, Karen, for coming up with it. I will be doing a video on it soon, I promise. Honestly, I've just got to film it. I've already filmed it, but I lost the footage. I don't know where it is, so I have to refilm it. So yeah, that is my book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Are there any books on this list that you want to read? If so, let me know. We might be able to buddy read them together. And if you enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when my next video goes up, and I will see you in that next video. Bye!